And now both former President Trump and President Biden are calling for unity. Let's bring in Robert Pape, an expert on political violence and professor at the University of Chicago, with more on that. Robert, thanks for joining us. I know you worked on a national survey a while back that found 10% of adults said they agree that use of force is justified to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president. Explain that for us. What did you make of those results at the time, and what do you make of them now in the wake of yesterday's assassination attempt?
So that survey was done at the end of June, so just literally 2 weeks ago. And immediately, once we analyzed the data, we started to take it to law enforcement, because the implications were fairly straightforward, which is we had to be concerned that there would be violence, possibly even directly against Donald Trump. And so I was unfortunately not surprised. I wish that we had done more to be able to move that data more quickly to even more people in law enforcement. But the fact of the matter is, with 10% of the American public, that's the equivalent of 26 million people supporting the use of force to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president, this is what happened yesterday was all to be expected.
Robert, this was already a contentious election. Do you think this will incite more political violence, or could this be an opportunity for unity, as both Trump and Biden are calling for?
Well, we should be cautiously optimistic. President Biden is doing all the right things. He is jumping right into this. He has pulled back his campaign. He has talked to Donald Trump directly. He is speaking to the country. He's condemning political violence. And it's important because the assumption is this is political violence that may be coming from Biden supporters. So he's doing something many politicians don't really do in the United States. However, as optimistic as I would like to be, it's very important to know that our survey also found 7% of American adults support the use of force to restore Donald Trump to the presidency. That side was already angry before the assassination attempt. And there's every reason to be worried that that group is going to grow. It's going to become even more angry. We have to worry about now spirals of retaliatory political violence. And this could happen this week, next month. We have months to go in this volatile election season. So there are good reasons why we should work hard now to take advantage of that moment for unity and to extend it, rather than just think, oh, yes, we've made our statements here. We're just going to go on the business now of demonizing each other in this highly consequential election.
So, Robert, what can not only President Biden and former President Trump do, but also other political leaders do to try to deter people from political violence, especially in the wake of what we saw yesterday?
So if political rhetoric can actually stimulate political violence, it can also calm it down. And the most important thing is to recognize that up until now, political leaders have been loath to criticize violence that might come from their own constituents. We had the George Floyd protests, 7 to 10% of which were riots, and yet people called them mostly peaceful. True, they were mostly peaceful, but those riots really did happen. January 6th. 2,000 out of 100,000 stormed the Capitol. Well, that could be called mostly peaceful, as some are, but the violence really occurred. What we need are Democratic leaders and Republican leaders to be willing to condemn violence, even if it comes from their own side, and to do it vocally and repeatedly on video, not just in statements, to do it repeatedly, not just as one-offs. This is a big challenge, but if we don't, we are heading toward an environment where we could see, again, spirals of violence. And as that violence spirals, those other political leaders themselves could become more and more in danger. And we simply don't have the ability to literally station a SWAT team on every street corner in the United States. So we need to take seriously that for years, political violence has been building. We've now reached an important threshold, and this threshold is an inflection point. Either we can come together and do something extraordinary in our history, which is to truly unify and condemn political violence, or we can let these moments slip away, in which case we have every reason to think this will keep building and not fade away on its own.
All right, watching all of that very closely. Robert Pape, thank you.
Thank you.